Good morning, everybody. A very exciting morning for us, a chance to have our yearly update from Sebastian about what is going on with building mines in South Sudan and about the situations in the political situations in the area, et cetera. And we hope he'll tell us a little bit about his family as well, because he's part of our community and we want to be part of all of your life that way, Sebastian. So I'm not going to say anything more. I'm just going to introduce Sebastian, and here he comes.
Well, thank you so much. For those who have never heard me talking, English is my third language. So be patient with me. And I'm happy to see Dale Bird here. I don't think she heard me. So as Mary says, in Warab State, Maina Abun is here in Warab State, one of the 10 states of South Sudan. I'm going to go through all my building mines in South Sudan history, so I can take you back from the day one. So after surviving Sudan war, I came to the United States. I put this picture to show how I was a few years ago, actually 2-3 decades ago, before I came to the United States. My picture is not in this picture. And if it is there, I could not even see myself. But I was one of those young boys walking. When I came to camps in Kenya, in my head was to go back to the village to see my mom again and my family. Never know that I would come to America. I wish I knew. So the day I came to the United States, Dale Bird went to the airport to collect me. She asked me, "Where's your bag?" I came out. She say, "Where's your bag?" Back with clothes. She didn't know. The only sandal I have in my foot were actually my shoes that I had since I left the village in 1988. And that what I was wearing in my bag, that was it. There was nothing until committee from this church took me to buy clothes. And I still remember his wife, Diane King, bought underwear for me. And I didn't know what this for. I was 21 years old. I asked her, "What is this for?" She said, "You wear them." It took me a while to accept that I have to wear them under me. So, but now I'm totally different with these guys in the picture. So the same thing is what going on in Manabun. We are taking children out of that kind of environment to the way I am today. This is a reflection of myself with the picture and the children in Manabun. So after I spent many years, hey T, welcome. After I spent many years, went back to the village, met my mom again after 18 years in South Sudan, sent my brother to go to school in Kenya, Chair Maranid. I child in this under three schools, who is today is a lawyer in South Sudan, Juba. That young boy right there, he's a lawyer now. Asked me, and this was in 2008, what about us? You send your brother to go to school in Kenya. What about us? They didn't ask for shoes or clothes or food. It was access to education. That's what they asked for. I came back to United States, recruit board members. 90% of our board members at the beginning were from this church, downtown church. A similar case that they show us when we came to America, love that they show us, they joined, all of them were building mine in South Sudan board. And especially my good friends, Jamie Reese. All of them were my friends. But there was something unique about Jim. He played chess with me. And I beat him every day. And then a few years later, I said, Sebastian, you know what? I maybe need to, I heard in Africa, people married multiple wives. Maybe I want to marry your mom. I said, yeah, you can do that, but we have to do 5K. Of course, he couldn't run 5K with me. When we came up with this idea, building a school in the village, Jim and I went to Wendy's at East Avenue, right? East Avenue. And I told him, Jim, yesterday it took me an hour on the phone with IRS trying to get tag exam. It was not easy. You do it, but you don't have accents. Sebastian, I can't. I said, do it. That's how we were close. I can't even tell him, do it. And he did. He was on the phone with them for a few months. And we're tech exam, nonprofit building mine in South Sudan. Jim Reese did it. And then after we raised fund, our delegation of 3, Mathan Noy, myself, and Ted Ajibrino, we went visit Mayana Bun for groundbreaking to build our, at that time, a school for 250 boys, only 250 boys. Ted read our statement to the community. We did a groundbreaking. I signed a contract with the builder, and the building started coming up. Our first 4 classrooms that we built at the first were not easy to be built. It took us, I think, 2 years to raise enough fund to build 4 classrooms. And then 2013, we add 4 more. And in a state of 250 boys, there were 959 students attending our first and the only, at that time, primary school in Mayana Bun village. Out of 959, 300 were only girls. I went back to the village chief, who happened to be my uncle, my mom's younger brother. And I said, why only 300 girls? I need more than 300. He said, Sebastian, if you want to help girls, build a separate school for girls. My interest of building girls' school or pushing for girls is not because I'm a woman. I told my uncle and I told everyone in the village, is because my mom never had access to school. She never got education. And so that's her 25 sisters. My grandfather was a polygamy. I don't want to talk about it now. It's a long story. She had 25 sisters and 31 brothers. It's a long story. A lot of her brothers were educated, but all 25, even though she was a daughter of village chief, all 25 sisters were not educated, including my mom. I don't want that to happen again to a woman in the village. So we built a school. They were sitting on the ground, as you can see. Naples Rotary Clubs somewhere here in New York dedicated fund for their benches. And we were able to go back with a Rotarian from Newark, New York, with 100 of pencils, and we hand them, every student were able to get pencil. 8th grade students set exams to go to high schools, and this young girl right there is going to finish this year at Barak Azal University with the Bachelor of Human Health, particularly for women. She's going back to Mayana Bun to work for Doctors Without Borders. They have a big medical center now in Mayana Bun, serving people coming from Sudan. She's going to work for them. And she went to our school because we created a school in the village. It's turned out now that some women will be able to help another woman in the village. One student that I don't see his picture here is a student in Egypt doing medical. His name, what is his name, Mary? I don't remember well. We had him in last year articles. He's going to finish by 2026 in Cairo because they created a school in Mayana Bun. This is teacher's office, doesn't look like American way. And a latrine. This is what I expected when I came to America. A building outside where you go to youth bathroom. One of these 3, one like that and one like this. One for boys, one for girls, and one for teachers. And one of these building is named after Jim Reese. It's Jim Reed's latrine. If you go there, please use it. Jim Reed's latrines. It's put when you go, there's a walk here to go inside, and right there in the middle, the Jim Reed's latrines. So by 2014, Linda Ward and I went back to South Sudan again to do a groundbreaking for girl primary school. We were able to be welcomed by mothers and girls in Mayana-Bun, a lot of dance, construction started for the girl primary schools, and 8 classrooms were built and joined by over 800 girls. It's when you go to high schools, you have to go all 8th grades from 1 to 8 to go to high school. In this case, you can be 15 and 16 in the first grade. So it was fact. There were 300 only in mixed schools. Here was over 800 girls. At Temple Sinai in, is it Brighton? Yeah, in Brighton. Penfield, yeah. We were able to discover this solar panel for girls. All the girls got the solar light. We took them inside to train them how to use it. And then I followed, at that time, she was 12 years old, a student in the 3rd grade, to her home. This was at evening. She hung it out in her mat hut. And then in her bed, actually, that was her bed. In her bed, she was doing her mathematics. Nyamum Malik was born by a disabled mom, mentally disabled mother. She was raped, her mom was raped by a drunkard person, had a child, Nyamum. And when I was introduced to her by the principal at the school site, I followed her to her home. And since then, I've been sending her money every month to support her. Now, she's a 9th grade student in our girl high school. I will come to that later. So we put solar power in all our 2 schools at that time. Now all our schools have solar power at the roofs. And we were able to hire the first and the only girl primary school female principal, supported by Bill Cook. I was able to ask Bill Cook to follow me to Mayana-Bun. He went 5 times now to Mayana-Bun, and he met the women that he supported it. After we built 2 primary schools, we decided to build a high school for both schools. The school first was named Mayan Central High School. And then the state governor of Warab State says, we have to honor this older American that visit our village. Says school has to be changed to Bill Cook High School. Bill Cook was touched, and I think this is the reason why he went back there 5 times. And by I believe it was 2018, one of our supporters, him and his family live in Victor, New York. He give us, if I can disclose it, at least more than $10,000 a year. So I went to his house 2 years in a row, and I said, I don't want to be the one talking about Mayana-Bun. And he give us this large money every year. You want to go and see it. He said, Sebastian, I'm 82 years old. I told him, even if you're 90, I'll take you. Took him to Mayana-Bun, only to be welcome. His name confused the community. His name is King. So people thought he was king. That's why he was welcomed like a king to the village. Everyone welcomed him. And next day, we were able to do a groundbreaking for what is now known as Bill Cook High School. The building started, classes were coming up. Bill Cook and I went back again. We welcome at the school site. We're able to open Bill Cook High Schools. Traditionally, it's 2 flags, the state and federal, South Sudan. The middle one is the federal of South Sudan flag, state flag of Warab, but then the 100 US. So 3 flags are in our first high school. So then I asked the girls that were there to talk about their freedom. And if I told them that if your father forced you to a marriage, let me know. I will sue your father. If you decide to get married, it's up to you. But remember, you will not get the freedom you want. So that was my talk with them. We hand over 10 laptops to the principals and teachers to do their homeworks. To give homeworks by printing it instead of writing it. And we also do PAD project, PAD for Girl project for those who reach 15 years old and above, because they used to skip class whenever this happened. So Judy Short trained what's her name? Linda. And we went to the village, we trained these women how to make the pads. We bought 2 sewing machines so they can make them in the village. And then Pad for Girl initiative is still continuing. Every year I take along money and sub so they can wash their clothes in all our high school and our primary school. Girl high schools. So 2 years ago, and this school actually is very lucky. 2 years ago, we decided to build a high school for girls. Luckily, we were able to build 6 and then 3 immediately. These 3 classes were dedicated by a professor who doesn't want his name to be mentioned at U of R. He paid for all 3 classes, and he paid for teacher's office right here. The only thing left right now is library, security guard house or office. This side of the building is all built. And then when we had last year 2023, beginning of 23, 500 girls at the girl high school, he gave us money. And then the beginning of 2024, we built additional 3 that were not even in a plan right here, 3 classrooms. This professor paid for 3 more, that means 3 plus 3, 6 classes plus 6 is 12 classrooms. And as of today, we have 722 girls at the girl high school. Few girls among these 700 are Sudanese migrants from Sudan because of Sudan conflicts. Some came from east side of the Niles from different tribes, including Nuer tribes in our girl high school. So this is how girl high school is constructed. Beginning of 2023, actually the end of 2022 to beginning of 2023. Matonoi, my cousin, visited me and we were able to oversee. So the boys, male are up, women down, giving support for the construction at the girl high school. So because they think this is theirs, and they actually made the bricks. The women made the bricks in that part of the world a lot of time. So all 9 classes were built first and then add 3 classes. Solar power put up, and the same donor that visited Mayana dedicated fund for hundreds of solar lamp. This type of solar lamp is very expensive. Each is $65. And I think it paid us so far like 1,000 of them for both high school and particularly for women. The guy from Victor, New York that I took to the village. And every child, it's like a library. The girl take one home, go and use it for your homeworks. Tomorrow when you come back, you put it back on to be charged. Right now it's charging, and you go to your class. Very good technology. And then I went to WOW to hire a Ugandan former priest, and now the principal's kind of like principal, but really another woman now is the one principal. He is kind of like director right now. So he helped put up the schools system. This is him in the village. And a visitor from New York, one of the executive at PGIM, I don't know what that stands for, is an investment company in New York, visited our village. He heard about building mine in South Sudan from Bill Cook. They talked, and he's going to dedicate funds to build the whole school for orphanage in Mayana. That's what he told us. He came, I don't know, you met him? He came and met Judy Short, and he says he's going. Yeah, he came to Judy house from New York City, and it says he's going to dedicate fund to build an orphanage school that will accommodate up to 1,000 children. Orphanage in South Sudan. His father, I think, in early 70s, was the ambassador of the United States to Sudan, and then to Kenya, and then to Nigeria. That's the connection. And Bill Cook told him, if you want to do something in Africa, use Building Mind, because they are a small organization, but 100% of what they do goes to the projects. And that's why he went himself to the village to see what we do, and he's pleased to have gone. So this is the principal, this woman right here, and he is like helping her to run in the future, to run the whole school system well. We gave them laptops. Luckily, they actually have Apple. I never had one, but they have Apple laptops donated by one of our board member, Michelle. Registration started, we raised flags, and the same girls. This is when I met her at the beginning, and this is her. 9th graders. She's changed. So this goes back to me. When I came to the United States, I was almost like that, even though I was grown, skinny, with no clothes on. And then now I think I'm like this, right? I'm big. When I came to the United States, Ed is here, right there. He gave me a suit. My first suit was a donation from him. I don't think I can wear your suit right now again. I'm bigger than you, right? Yeah, Ed gave me a suit when I came to the United States. Yeah. So because there were over 100 of girls at the girl high school, I could not go to class for class. I asked them to go to do a parade at the school site to give them a pad for girls support. And they all line up, receive their pad for girls, and they all walk back to their classes. Then I welcome over 300 girls that were joining girl high schools. Some of them are not from Dinka tribes, as I said. I started talking in Dinka, and one girl raised her hand and said, "No, I'm not a Dinka, speak in English." So I did, in her honor. So because of the support, because I think this organization actually, it started like Downtown Church Mission. It actually was a mission. But then to appeal outside, we brought in Judy Short, being a Jew, that really appealing. And then who again we brought outside? Susan McDaniels and Michelle and Mark. Yeah, then we reached outside. By the way, it started as a Downtown Mission, really. He's our lawyer, vice president, and then a lawyer of our team. And then I had for the girl that did well the last year exams, the school exams, 10 each class. If you are top 10, you get a certificate of excellence and then get an award. So I was giving an award to the girl that did well in all their classes. And this was this year. And additional, this were the 3 additional classrooms that were dedicated by the professor at the U of R. Now we have 12 classes for all our students at the girl high school in Maynabon. Dance, and then Bill Cook again. In February 15, 2024, Bill Cook went to Maynabon. So instead of welcoming him in one of our 4 schools, I asked him to go directly to what will be our next project, which is Free K, the little children's school. So the president of women groups and I and the children, and that is under Tree School, Free K, welcome Bill Cook to Maynabon, and this was in 2024, this year, February 2024. Bill Cook was being welcomed by mothers and the president of women groups, and he pledged that I think he just turned 81. He says, "As long as I shall live, I'll be always supportive of Maynabon and the children welfare." And he was talking to the kids. I took him next day to the girl high school. We did a ceremony again. He opened his classrooms, teacher's office. He sat with the principal, who is actually a director now, and then took pictures with brain drain. These teachers are not South Sudanese. Some are South African, Tanzanian, Ugandans, Kenyans. There's a huge brain drain in South Sudan because of lack of literacy in that region. So they're all teaching sciences, some biology, chemistry, physics, and English. And they have idea in this girl school site, which is a girl idea. If you come as a visitor, you have to plant your own tree. So mango tree or japa, he choose, Bill Cook choose a mango tree to plant on that day. And then we went back to where I put him, one of the Mahat that had a solar panel and light. We met a student that finished high school at Bill Cook High School. She came to request for the support to pay a 30% because South Sudan, if you finish high school and you are a girl, I think the government take care of 70% of your school fees, and you have to bring in 30%. If you are a boy, I think it's up to 60%. So she was asking Bill Cook for 30%, and I think Bill Cook promised that he will do it. And before I left, they asked me to plant my tree, and I choose Joapa. I did Joapa at the girl high school side. Besides building a school, we do microfinance for women's, and Bill Cook and I went to eat one of the ladies we support. We train women to do sewing machine. We buy them ones in the kind of business. Gardens, Mary broke out. Is she here? Okay. Yeah, she may be online. We have a program. It was usually supported by King Family and Victor. When they went there, they thought they have to do something like this for mothers to do while their children are on the school side. Different kind, and support from Mary broke out, reached out to multiple women, including this woman. This is equivalent to $100 to buy seats for her own. She was not qualified for the 30 acres that we did for women that come from low income family. If you have goats and some cows, you're not qualified. It's thoroughly selected by the community. She was not qualified. She had some goats. So she did her own small garden, and I brought a gift from Mary Brook out to her to support her do more for her children. And this is, we were actually not taking them for free, I promise. We paid for them. Marthan and I went to the garden site. And this is our 30, actually it was about 20 something, and we had 25, we had 5 this year, 5 acres. So we have 30 acres garden for mothers. And I just discovered that there are men, they call, instead of widow, I don't know, they use the opposite of that. Men with women, I mean with children, so, you are qualified to have a part of it. This woman she made a decision that she wanted to create her own business for pumpkins, grains, sorghums, and she even have chickens. So that's made a plus here. And this garden is very far away from Manabun community, and the fencing was funded by Mary Bookout and her friends here from our church. And Bill Cook King Beck put up the water at the Women's Center, and he actually paid for the fencings. It's a beautiful Women's Center now in Mainabun, including purified water. And this is King Beck funded this programs. With this, this is literacy rate, 83%. You don't know I read it right, including my mother. 12% have high school diploma. The president of the country is actually in this stage. 5% of those people are including diaspora, those who are not in South Sudan. With this, I'm open for any question. Anything you have in mind about my wife, I'm now married. I have 2 children, 2 daughters. I hope my daughters will go to school here in America.
Oh, we got you.
Great to see you, Sebastian. Thank you. I came a couple months late, but maybe you spoke about it, but the plans for the future, the school for the young children, did you want?
Yeah.
Are you able to tell us any more about that, or whether?
They actually made bricks. Brick is ready. The only thing left to have money to start building it. So this is our next project from now on. Well, it
How much
depends.
money?
It depends how many classes we are going to build. Like we studied how many little kids are coming in. This is where we determine how many more. Yeah, but if you give me $100,000, I will start it. I'm just messing up with you. I'm just messing up with you. Thank
Were you
you.
raising your hand, John?
Yes,
Carol, wait for the,
that's a good question. That's actually, I forgot to talk about it.
Yeah, the question was going to be about the salaries for the teachers and the principals, et cetera.
The principal is about $6,000 a year. And then teachers is about $5,000 for the whole year. So, and it's a major issue that I actually forgot to mention. We were expecting up to 400 within 2 years at the girl high school, and now 700. And we have about 15 teachers. So the principal sent me a letter right after I came to the United States last month, April, now it's May, asking me to find a way to get for 3 more teachers, money for 3 more teachers, because it says 15 teachers out of 700 plus student is not easy. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, because the literacy rate in South Sudan is so low,
Yeah.
when you started building schools, were you really the only one building schools in your area?
Oh, in my area, yes. But across South Sudan, there are religious schools. And religious school work a very weird way. Like,
Mhm.
for example, there's a Catholic school, actually in Mehnabun,
I see.
and you have to be a Catholic.
Mhm.
You have to go to Catholic schools. It kind of like push out children. And it's actually expensive. You have to pay as well. I just discovered that. And the government do not build schools right now because the whole country needs a school. If they build a certain part, they will be seen as favoring one side of the country. So when someone builds a school like what I do, they support it. And this is why I met senior officials, including by president. They have this idea of training teachers. We do it, but of course, those teachers we train were not highly educated, and that's why I bring in qualified folks who are Kenyan, Ugandan, or South Africans. And I promise that until then, if we still exist, then we can train your own locals to teach the local citizen. But at the meantime, you don't have a qualified staff. So talking about building, it's few boys, young men, lost boys build a school. Build one schools in Awil, which is a different state, Northern Barakazali states. He built one school and he gave up because it's not easy. It takes your life. He gave up. This one, another guy built schools in Eastern Equatoria State, which is almost at the border of Kenya. He built one and he gave up. He even emailed me a year ago and it says, how do you do it? How did you give up life? I said, perhaps because in life we own nothing. What we own is a legacy. And I say, I will own a legacy. Yeah.
So, I guess I should now pass it to
It's
well,
okay.
I'm just wondering, of all the students you have, boys, girls, now coming the littler ones, of all those students, how does that compare to other students in the
Different village.
country? Yeah, and wherever their schools, whether they're Catholic or whatever. Because I just think what you've done is astounding.
A lot.
And so,
To be honest, I actually told you a few minutes ago before this talk, that I visit Salfadut region where Salfadut was born, and it's actually more primitive, to be honest, than my village. Some children are still naked and no even under 3 schools. So it's a major challenge. And even people think that Mehnabun is par, and it's true, it's par. Over 2,000 students in the schools is a lot of students. And then we have over 400 in universities. We have 2 whom are actually teaching at Bill Cook High School. Our own student finished college, one finished economic, the other one finished accounting. They're now teaching in our school in the community. So now I was thinking of moving to build one in Salfadut area, but the federal government policies is if you are a nonprofit, you have to be diverse. So we have to build a school where one of my friend, his name is Justin. He's actually a member of this church, I think, a lost boy. Is from different tiny tribe. They want me to build in that part of the region. So the building manual will be seen as a diverse instead of one ethnics area.
So Justin was one of the 4 walking boys that the downtown church
It's sponsored.
sponsored in the early years. They,
Yeah.
Sebastian, and he wasn't called Justin then. He had a different name.
Victor.
Victor,
Yeah.
yeah. Because
So
you
they
know, of
switched,
course, they
they
get,
switched
they
name.
were all assigned names.
They switched name. So Victor, first name actually was his dad. They switched, they put Justin
that-
middle
that's
name
how yeah.
and Victor first name. So he fixed it. Put Victor middle name, Justin first name.
So there's originally was Sebastian and Victor and Peter and
Thomas.
Thomas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Just some of you will remember, and I just wanted to put
Yeah.
those names out there. So they were the ones sponsored by the downtown church
Yeah.
as
Jim,
walking boys, new to Rochester, and we worked with Catholic Family Services was the agency that was
Sponsor
working
us.
most directly with us when we did that. Just some of you may not know. And
yeah. GMT?
here's a question for that.
Oh, okay.
Sebastian, this challenge will not end, I'm sure.
Put it
Yeah.
close to your mouth.
But how large an area can you service before you have to move to another district?
Districts. So right now it's Mayana Bun, when we talk, it's not a village, actually. We call it a village, it's a region. It's like Rochester. So we built it very much in the center. So our 2 high schools are very much 10-mile apart. And the young folks who wanted to get education move nearby. So the village, Wurok village within Mayana Bun is populated because of building mine in South Sudan. So we may educate 10 to 20% young youth in Mayana community. And I think that is more than what we can do, because if we invest all the time in the region, we will look very favorite one regions. So, and this is why we look about after the little kid children, we're looking to help where Justin came from, different tribes. So we can be seen as a diverse. It's a very, when you are a majority in a country, it's not a good thing sometimes. Sometimes it's good for election wise, but sometimes it's not good. Any mistake you do is seen as because you're majority. So unfortunately, I came from a majority tribes, Dinka. It's just make up like at least 50% of the country. And I have to be careful. So when I build from a tiny tribes, it will make me look good for the state and the federal policy as well. The president, who is actually a Dinka, put that policy on. You have to be a diverse if you are a nonprofit.
From the chat, there's one comment and then 2 questions. So
Yeah.
the first comment, when you had mentioned information about Jim Reese, Marie had said that she misses Jim Reese.
Yes.
And then Elaine has a question and Marie has a question. Elaine's question, are there plans for developing adult education? And then the other question, are there any women who run the schools at a high school at a high level of administration other than teaching?
Good questions. Our girl high school actually have a woman now, principal. That's the girl high school. The girl primary school is a female principal since day one. And then Bill Cook High School, the deputy is a woman. And all our school have, the president of women groups have a representative. In case a girl have a complaint, they go to the village ship. That's come on for women's side. What was the other question? Adult education is a challenging situation. They have adult education after school hours, and that's why we put solar power. But they have a request, which I turned it down a few times. It's expensive. Vocational training. They want vocational training, but building a building is okay. But buying equipment for vocational training is expensive. You have to buy them somewhere else because they don't have them in South Sudan. And then transport them in. It's expensive. It's a major work. So I told them, choose one, vocational training or build a school for little one to have a better future. Then say, okay, build a school for little one. That's how I get away from that.
Have you followed your high school graduates, the ones who maybe don't go to university, but they move back to their villages, right? They leave and then,
We
do you know how they're doing?
Yeah, we have actually they follow me on Facebook, and when I go, they want to meet with me. So we have one who work for a survey, like when you survey a community or the area of the regions, one of our survey managers in Manabun districts happened to be one of our students. He even know Ted Ajabrino and Bonnie Lloyd, because Bonnie met him when he was in a primary school in our village. Bonnie went to our village many years ago. And then when I go to Juba, I put it on Facebook. I will arrive this day, and then they will privately messaging what hotel. And I'll meet at least 20, 30 the same day. And they will spend few minutes because they know some are coming. So when I came back from the village, I put it on Facebook that I will be in Juba in a few hours. If you want to meet me, come at the airport. I was like a prince. A lot of them coming from different, and I told them hotels sometimes get upset with all my crowd. So, but I will meet here. So we went to we were giving a hall and we talked. They were all introduced because I don't know them. They know me. I don't know them personally. I know some faces. I don't remember their names. They will introduce themselves. I'm now doing this. We have a student who is actually doing practice now as a doctor, and few nursing practitioners. And one boy is actually doing a computer at John Garang Institute in Bor, which is it's a private college created by young man who went to UK, went back to Africa, went to his village, built institute for computer, and is doing computer. It's 5 years. So we have a lot of successful stories. And Chair, my brother, is working for Presidential Palace while he's doing research for his doctorate, tropical disease control. And every 6 p.m. he does a radio host with the other 3 guys. So through radio that is sponsored by UN, to talk to the people how they can control tropical disease controls. They even talk about GERDs, acetoplex, and I was actually fortunate to listen to them when I was there because I had one at acetoplex. So we have a lot of successful stories. We can't even have 5 days talking about them. The good thing is, even though we will not live to see the next generations, what they will do, we will remain in history of South Sudan that we change many lives. And I think that will not leave. Our wealth will go. But that legacy we did is a good mission of Downtown Church.
I just first want to say I was overcome with emotion listening to you present
Thank
for
you.
all you've accomplished. And
Thank you.
I don't get this way a
Yeah,
lot,
yeah.
but what you had to say really affected me greatly.
Thank you.
And I have 2 quick questions.
Mhm.
One is, how far do people come to get to your schools? How far do they walk, or are there other ways for them to get there? And you answer that, and I'll try to remember what my second one was.
It's actually a 3 mile square walk. But majority of children move in to near us by. Culturally, if you had because their houses is actually a mud hut. There's no modernized building. Your parent can come and talk to you. You know, a child parent says, can we build a mud hut in your compound for my kids to go to school here? It's acceptable in that culture, as long as they provide their feeding materials. And my own mom compounds used to be 4 mud hut. Now she have 9 mud huts, 5 from a student going to girls' schools, because she's a mile away from girls' school, primary school. So there's a lot of girls in my mom home state that we don't know where they're from and what clan. Yeah. So,
And my other question was, what language do you educate in? You mentioned people are coming from different tribes, so I assume they speak some different languages.
yes, it's a by law now. The whole system in South Sudan is English now. It used to be Arabic until 2011. When South Sudan become a separate state, they are joining East African blocs, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and they have all their courses are in English. So if you join them, you have to be English state, speaking state. So all the subjects from primary, from kindergarten to college in South Sudan are in English, or else no school for you.
And don't I remember you saying that sometimes the families arrange with someone else who lives in the village for the students to be able to eat meals there, et cetera?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a.
Yeah. That's what I said.
There's a wonderful sense of community
Mhm.
that's part of making it possible for these kids to go to
Yeah.
school if they live
Yeah.
further away.
Yeah, you have to have a family that have adults, a grown mom or a grown dad to move your children to that family compound. If they're youth, you can't by law, because who will be responsible?
Hi, Sebastian. I read nothing recently. What is the current status of the political situation in South Sudan?
Or it's just,
today?
I consider it stable because the guy that almost made a coup attempt is now vice president of the country. So they're together. Sudan, though, is not good. The two generals, the one that came from from minority, and the one that came from establishment of Sudan, they are fighting over. One is being primarily supported by Egypt. One is being supported by UAE. And I don't know where is US here in Russia? No, no. They have displaced person in the borders regions, but they are under protection of UN. Yeah. But it's so sad because I can see when I was young, I can see myself, can see a child being another lost boy in that situation. Yeah.
We have two questions from the chat.
Yeah.
The first one from Gail Mott.
Yeah.
How large was your village when you started building the schools, and how much has it grown?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Our part of the village center was tiny. I could say maybe few hundred members, less than 1,000. Now is more than 10,000. Because some people migrated with their children to the school site. And when they use that area, they don't have to move again. This is very tricky situation. Yeah, it's grown more than 10 times. Yeah. Yeah.
And the other question is for Marie. What are your hopes for the coming years for your schools and the children? And do you see yourself doing education work in Rochester?
That's a challenging question. Well, in Rochester, it would be if I can involve with a city school district children that come from a parent who are least fortunate, because we have it here. We have it in certain degree. If I can get involved, like talk to them, compare the lives, to encourage the young youth to not give up, that's the only thing I can do in this side of the world. In South Sudan part, I think I'll be always there with them, because I never had a childhood, and this is my childhood. Because when you suffered and now have a lot of love, you feel, you get love guilt. You see, you're taking the whole love for yourself. But what about those who suffered with you? I think I'm going through love guilt, and that will push me to do more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sebastian, when you showed us the buildings for the women's campus, is there a wall around it? And you had shown a guardhouse, security house that has been built yet. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, for the girl high school? Oh, the professor that I didn't mention his name told me that it's actually going to, this year is going to, before I go, he's going to give us money for the security guard home office. And it's also going to create something not even in our projects, which is a house for brain trained teachers from different countries. So they can have, instead of sleeping in mud hut, they can sleep in house with light. So he's also going to fund that project. So I'm kind of like living with him to do it. He said fundraise, that's what he told me just recently when I come back. Fundraise for free K schools. I'll finish the rest for the high school for girls. This is a professor at U of R. Oh, it's not a threat, like someone is going to shoot children like when they do it in school sometime. It's not that kind of, so the security go there to protect girls. Because in America, when you're a teacher, you see girls as your students. Some part of the world is not like that. A man would see a beautiful young girl at the school and wanted to date her or wanted to sleep with her. This is some sort of insecurity. Oprah Winfrey, or I don't know her last name very well, built a school in South Africa, put a man in it to be in charge, didn't put security. What happened in a few years? Too many pregnancies. The school was shut down. We don't want that mistakes. That's why we have security. And guess what? Security mostly are women. And I told them, should anything happen, you are in trouble. And they say, no, we want to protect our girls. So that's why we have a security. So men know that they're being watched.
Yeah, and that also makes the parents feel
Safe.
safer about sending their daughters because that security is there. But it is neat.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's needed.
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey, that's what happened to her school in
South Africa,
in
yeah.
South Africa, if some of you recall. That was the exact problem.
I know that Africans have a wonderful sense of rhythm and design and art. And I wondered if you have music classes and art classes.
No, it's actually, I asked the same question. It's not in the country policies. The weird part they fought for freedom so they can have freedom for all. They come to South Sudan, they get freedom for all the religion, everything, except every school in South Sudan, you have to teach CRE, Christian religion education. It's a must. Where regardless of what kind of a school, you have to teach it by law. And then I said, you should teach instead of Christian religion education, why don't you put in music? They said, no, music, they made it in college. We don't have time. But Christian religion education is to remind them about faith and hope. That's what they're using, but it doesn't make sense because you have about 0.5% Muslims and their religion is not being taught. I thought a little sensitive about that, but apparently maybe I'm looking an American way, not in their way. Yeah.
Hi, we have a question from Elaine.
Yeah.
Is your plan to bring your family here? Is your plan to bring your
Yes.
family here?
Yes, she is, actually, she just in second year university. And when she finished college, which is 2.5 years from now, she will come with my daughters. And the other hope is next year, I just talked to the new Secretary of State of South Sudan. They call it Foreign Minister. And I told him next year, if you visit Washington, could you bring my wife that trip so she can come and see America. She and Adior, my cousin wife, they talk almost all the time on Facebooks. And she said, be ready. She said it's challenging. Culture change, it's not.
Adior said that.
Yeah.
Adior and Mathan live in Buffalo, for those of you who don't know, which works well for them. But the sad part for us is it's harder for us to be part of their daily lives. So they're a bit more isolated that way in terms of family.
Any question? Oh.
Has anybody done oral history work with you and some of the people that have been involved with this project for a long time? And or is there any written history or written stories being recorded? Because just listening to you, I think, you know, you have little stories, but it's such an amazing project that it would be great if it could be
Recorded,
written
written, yeah. So
or recorded.
I met with Elaine Bienduty and Erica Bryan 2 days ago. We had breakfast at Giants. They both agreed to join me by the end of 2025 to go to South Sudan, both of them. And then there's another lady at SUNY Geneseo. She's in charge of their newspapers at SUNY, the college. She go to our website and she said, I don't like the photos, the way you take photos. This is what I do for a living. I'm going to go take photos. If they go, because Erica is a writer, Helene is she used to be a host of Need to Know Rochester. So they may be the one to do it. And I told them it's good if you are a journalist, an American, it would be good to see an American perspective how the support of American in Rochester, New York have changed the life of the community. You will see in your own view. I don't want to be the one translating. The student that went to school will be the one translating. And they love that. So I think that will change.
Helen Bienduty was from WXXI. You may be familiar with her name, and Erica Bryant. I don't know if she currently works for the Democrat and Chronicle, but
She's a freelance now.
she's freelancing now, right?
And she's a director of some private institution doing writing for them.
But she was a journalist for the Democrat and Chronicle for a long time and wrote several articles about us. When she was doing that. So they've both been long-term friends, and Helen has traveled with you to South Sudan.
Yeah, she did.
Once or twice?
One.
Yeah.
Beginning of 2013, she went to Manawin Village.
Yeah.
And with Bonnie was with us, right? With Bonnie too.
Bonnie was with you
Yeah.
on that trip. Yeah. Yeah.
DMT, do you have any question? No? Okay.
And yeah, I wanted to mention that the current board members are from the downtown church are just myself and Reed Summers. And we are a small board. What are we, 7 people?
7 people, yeah.
Yeah. But Jim Tiefenthal was one of our founding board members and a board
Right
member
there.
for many years. You sure you don't want to say anything, Jim?
And to be honest, he's the one who helped me, showing me how to do a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
If you still remember, yeah, I used to do it awkward. And he sat down with me a few minutes and I got it. Thank you, Jim. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Did anybody have an announcement about what's coming up?
So for everybody, reminding you next week, Sam King and the Finance Committee will be speaking with us about some of the details of church finances. It's a challenging issue, and thank you, Sam, for bringing all that information. And there's a request out there for any questions from the community that can be forwarded either to Carolyn or to David Lee, and we will forward that to the Finance Committee. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Helen. How are you? Yeah.